My name is Catherine Smith, and I'm a trustee with the Bellevue Schools Foundation. And the Bellevue Schools Foundation is a community-based nonprofit. And by community, I mean you. A number of years ago, we heard from parents, just like you, who wanted to help their children so they could find ways to apply to colleges and universities and search out and apply for colleges and universities. The college application process is incredibly difficult and complicated. Maybe difficult's the wrong word, but it is complicated. A friend, Lisa Shank, who's somewhere in this room, was just commenting to me the other day about how hard it was for her son when he graduated some number of years ago. And now for her junior daughter, it is much easier, and she's very happy about it. It is a complicated process, especially if you have no experience with applying for colleges or applying for U.S. colleges. It's also challenging because a number of parents at the time were worried that they weren't getting enough help from their college counselors, high school counselors, and they were worried about what seemed like an have or have not situation where people with means were able to hire private counselors, college counselors that are, $10,000 or, thousands of dollars anyway. And it was no wonder they were worried about that. High school counselors have a very large student load. We have excellent counselors, including my daughter's counselor is here today, excellent counselors in the district, but they have a busy load and they needed help. A lot of them also had never had specific college training and college counseling. So the foundation staff and trustees listened to parents, listened to counselors, and searched for better ways to support students and their families. And one wise high school counselor told us if she could ask for anything, she would ask for access to Naviance, because it's the premier college exploration and application platform used by many elite private schools. And if this is what the private high schools were using, why couldn't we, the public schools, use it? And of course, the answer was funding. So 7 years ago, the Bellevue Schools Foundation worked with school district leaders and staff to research Naviance and other tools and plan ways to improve the college application process for students. And this included a position for an experienced, wise college counselor who could lead a district-wide initiative. Thank you, Deb Craft. And provide professional development in college counseling for high school counselors. And bring a new tool that gave every high school student 24/7 access to college and career exploration, SAT and ACT test prep, all for free, and a seamless way to apply and track the large number of documents needed to be sent, from transcripts, teachers' letter of recommendations, and a direct communication tool between students, counselors, and parents. It even helps with high school PTSAs by tracking community service hours and making it much easier for senior community service awards, and has been a great help there. So 6 years ago, the College and Career Next Steps initiative was launched. And every year since then, the foundation has partnered with the district to make changes and improvements, such as summer college workshops to help seniors on college applications and essays, and improvements in enrolling all eligible middle schools in the Washington College Bound program. Thanks to this community, that means you, donations have provided over $800,000 in private support for this initiative, and the investment has had huge dividends. More students are applying to college, and counselors are able to support their students who do not yet have a plan for their high school. Just last year, Bellevue students from every high school submitted a total of 14,825 college applications through Naviance. So now it is my pleasure to introduce the district's K-12 counseling supervisor, Deb Craft.
thank you for coming. We appreciate you coming in the middle of the day to learn more about this program that we so heavily depend on, 6 through 12, and all of your children will be using, especially as seniors. Is that fair? I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I will tell you that they are either in the middle of or just finishing up Senior Blitz, where they talk to each senior in the class one-on-one to make sure they both meet their graduation requirements and they have a plan for after they leave us. So getting them today was a little bit tricky, but they managed to rearrange their appointments. So thank you very much. Jamie?
I'm Jamie Ginter. I'm the high school counselor at the Bellevue Big Picture School, and I'm really excited to be here and to let you know that we have a senior class of 32 students this year at Big Picture, and those are the students who have been with us since the beginning, since 6th grade, and it has been fabulous to watch them grow and change along with watching our school grow and change and develop, and I'm just thrilled to be there as the counselor. I drive every day from West Seattle to be part of this community and to be part of our schools, thanks to a lot of help from the foundation and the district in programs such as Naviance and the Big Picture School. I just really believe in what we're doing. So to get us started, Naviance is a program for 6th through 12th grade. It is funded by the Bellevue Schools Foundation and the Bellevue School District. As Deb said, seniors use it very frequently in the application process, and you're going to learn more about exactly what tools they use and what ways you can see and help your student when they're seniors to follow the application process to make sure everything is in and done on time. The Bellevue Schools District instructional initiatives are always part of what we do, and the Naviance program supports that in many ways. For the academic success portion of the initiatives, the Naviance program has a academic and learning interest style profiler, so students can go in and figure out what kind of learner they are. For the college and career ready part, we've talked about how it helps with the application process. It also talks about many different careers, what those careers need as far as education, what schools provide that education, how much those careers, what the salaries are in different states, different cities, and what the daily tasks of that job is. And for the Positive and Productive Life Initiative, Naviance also helps students understand themselves as their personality, their passion, how big their social needs are, if they have high social needs or low social needs, and what that means for themselves as a human being. So it covers all three of the initiatives. When we're looking at Naviance in all of our programs, we're using an equity lens. So the great thing about Naviance is it provides equal access for all students, regardless of socioeconomic status and background, access to all the information to apply to college, to research colleges, to compare colleges, and career options as well. Bellevue School District is pleased to offer our families, I'm just going to read the slide because it's well said, access to Naviance. It's a web-based college and career research and planning tool for students, parents, and counselors. So your student will get a Naviance account when the counselors go into their classroom and meet with them. They get an account and a password that they share with you, and then they can go on from home, and you can go on from home and get into Naviance and see the activities and the different sections that your students have completed and what's offered to them. Here is Diane Lindsay to give you more.
Hello everyone, my name is Diane Lindsay. I'm at Newport High School. So I'm going to go through the next few slides and show you exactly what we do with Naviance through our guidance curriculum as counselors and kind of how we roll it out to your students. So these are all things that Naviance provides to us to give to your students. As you know, it's a web-based program. We make high school plans through it, identify personality and learning styles, and I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. 4-year overview, 9 through 12 at the secondary level. These are all the items that we touch on. Please note that every high school might do a variation of these at different years, but our Naviance program really does our high school and beyond plan. So at the end of your student's senior year, their high school and beyond plan graduation requirement will be met, and these are all the programs that we do to meet that need. As you notice, 9th and 10th grade, we work a lot more on academic planning, personality and interest inventories, some career interest inventories, and then as we get into the upperclassmen of 11th and 12th grade, we really focus more on the college focus. So we look at SAT prep, we look at college visits, which we now have college and career counselors at every single high school in our district, which is something we're so excited about. And they're busy right now planning all the college and admissions visits for our students to attend information sessions on. And then in 12th grade, I love to tell my seniors, if you didn't like Naviance before, you're really going to have to love it because you're living on it this year. We do all of our college applications through it. We send letters of recommendation, and we send transcripts. So really, we provide them since 9th through 12th grade. We're really focusing on our Naviance, and at the end game would be the college and career planning. The next 3 slides are going to be the 3 core items that we focus on. So this first one is academic planning. Starting with our freshman year, one of the guidance things that we do is we ask all of our kids to go onto the courses link, and then we go ahead and have them put in their current courses that they are on. We tell them to kind of plan out their next 4 years on where their end game is. If they're looking for a 4-year university or a technical school, what in the high school, what do they need to do in order to get there? So it helps them plan out. I think my students really love it because they want to see what electives they can take and win. So they use it for selfish reasons as well, but that's okay. We want them to really get involved with it. And keep in mind that we did get a new information system, Synergy, and so we are working hard to make sure that all the courses sync correctly into Naviance. So at the moment, it might not all be updated, but that is, of course, our goal. Self-discovery, we really love we have some great interest inventories, personality inventories that we love to do with the students. My personal favorite is Do What You Are. This is a personality inventory. It is a series of questions and scenarios that the students fill out and select throughout. It's kind of a long program, but at the end they come out with a personality type. They don't always agree with it, but it's also just a tool for them for self-reflection on, am I really a sensor? This is maybe why. And then with that, Naviance is an endless tunnel. They can click on what career type usually is that type of personality type is in, what majors those careers follow, and then also go into the universities and college that offer those majors. I mean, there really is no end to Naviance. It's constantly a tunnel of information, and that is what we like about it. The Miranda Lee report is a middle school program that we don't use at the high school level, but I believe they start in 7th grade with the Miranda Lee. And then finally, this last slide that I'll do is careers. So our goal at the Bellevue School District isn't only to have our students graduate with a Bellevue School District diploma, but we want them to be knowledgeable of what their life might look like after high school and where their interests might lead them. And so, of course, we want them to go to a 4-year, but we wouldn't want them to walk in the door blind. And so the idea is that they leave with a couple careers or interests that they actually know that they've kind of realized that those are their interests, and kind of walk in with maybe these are some majors that I want to follow. The cluster finder up here, which is the left side, that is a career cluster finder where students can click on a type of career. So if it's social worker or human services, they can click on it, and then it will link down a list of jobs that feed into that cluster and then go into the majors again and into the colleges. So as you can see, we're just trying to give them all the information we can. I'm a big knowledge is power type of person, and so I love them to kind of get into this, and I do think that they really do enjoy it. So that is where I'm going to end. I'm going to introduce Richard Brown from Bellevue High School.
So again, my name is Richard Brown from Bellevue High School. I see a lot of people taking a lot of pictures of this PowerPoint. I will point out that I think we're going to give this to the Bellevue Schools Foundation, and it'll be up on their website. So if you want to. All right, there we go. We're good. Okay. So this is part of the next couple of slides is kind of giving you an idea, an example of what we offer and what Naviance offers for those students pertaining to college research planning and applying. She did a great job, Diane, about careers. So what we do with the careers piece is we take those careers, we look at what type of majors that are available at the college level. And from there, you see how on the top right hand side, that's the college research. It's called the Super Match. For our seniors at Bellevue, I know that is one of my favorite things that we do because it gives you a sense of exactly what schools that student wants to go to, where their GPA scores is, what locations they want to go into, also what kind of majors, and it actually matches that student with those particular points of view to the certain schools in that location area. On the left side of the page, you have your scattergrams, and I'll show you a different slide later on. But that is where you can actually view the students of that student's high school and apply it to the college. So for example, University of Washington, at Bellevue we had over 600 students apply, not 600, excuse me, but yes, 600, give or take in the last 5 years or so. And it pinpoints that your students' score, test scores, and GPA compared to every other student from that applied to University of Washington. So this is what Naviance Homepage looks like. When we go to the live demo later on, they'll pinpoint exactly and show you where to go and what to click on for those students. And this is a great aspect in this piece because I feel like every school, you have what's coming up, what's new. Every school does college visits. And that's one thing that we tell our students is you need to go to those college visits and meet with those admissions officers. And they actually have those college visits right up on front, the date, the time, and the where on the Naviance page. And I think that's awesome. I know our college and career specialist does it. Does yours too? Yeah, so it's the same thing. So this is the slide, colleges I'm applying to. This is what I call the senior's best friend for the next 2 months, okay? The reason I say that is because this list is those schools that they are going to be applying to. As counselors, I tell them that this list has to be updated at all times when they become senior, because that's where we send our transcripts to, that's where we send the counselor letter of recommendations to, and everything is combined with common application. When your students get to that point, their junior year, springtime, as well as a little earlier than that, we'll definitely be going to classrooms, allowing and giving them examples and showing them how to apply to schools through Common App as well as through Naviance here. And the last slide is the scattergrams. This is where I was speaking about. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a red circle where this student's scores and GPA are compared to every single student that actually applied to this particular school, which is Western Washington University. Each square, green square, is the person that got in compared to where your student is located on that. So that, say for example, their average GPA is a 3.4 and their average SAT, it looks like 1150 or 1125. This student's GPA is a 3.5 and a 1200 on the SAT. So they're above what Western Washington's average of getting into that college is. So this is one of the good points about Naviance because there's so much information and college research that you guys can utilize not only for your student but your parents at home as well. It's something that we like to tell parents to go into as well because it'll help your student figure out exactly where they want to go and what they want to do. I'm going to introduce Melinda. She's going to take the next couple of slides.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melinda. I'm Melinda Breeze, actually, the high school counselor for International High School. So I'm going to talk to you, before I talk about the slides, so students get to do, starting in 6th grade, self-exploration, career exploration, college research, and we get to engage with them more easily as a result. Families get to engage with them more easily as a result. We can see what they're thinking about when they're putting those college lists together. We can look at them and say, oh, I know what the student is thinking, and then figure out what support they need. So what does that mean for our students? Class of 2017, 1,556 of our students applied to college. 10,000, just over 10,000 submitted applications. Just kidding. The number of applications they submitted was over 10,000, and the number of schools they applied to was 560. Now this is the exciting part. Oh, no, we're about to get to it. So private colleges that they applied to, University of Southern California, you can see the list. It's not a comprehensive list. They've applied to other schools besides these, but these are kind of the bigger ones. And then this is the exciting part. So students are now attending these schools. So you can see 295 are attending University of Washington. I want to find Western because it's my alma mater. 54 are attending Western, and then down into more of the private colleges. And again, not a comprehensive list. We have students going to other schools as well. So it's a really amazing tool. It allows us to all work together to support students in every single aspect, and for them to do that in-depth education around college and career versus thinking about it for the first time their junior year and scrambling to figure out what they're going to do, right? They know, they're prepared, and we've worked together to do that. So I'm going to introduce Alicia and Kristen to talk about, kind of walk you through the program.
Hi, I'm Kristen Patterson. I'm from Sammamish, and we're going to go live on Naviance and show you around. This is, when a student logs into Naviance, this is what they see. So you can all see my cursor. Okay, so what's new? Like Rich was saying, we list college visits, we list upcoming events. For example, tonight we have a financial aid night at our school, so that would be listed here. So it's just kind of like what's upcoming, just to kind of help the kids keep on track. Oh, before I get started, I just want to say, so I've been using Naviance since it started in the district, and I absolutely love it. It really helps put everything in one place. Like Diane was saying, it's just more and more information. You can just go really deep into it, get lots of help. It's really good for our students. They really like using it. I think as a counselor, it's really helped me. So I want to put that in first. Okay, so then the messages. So those messages are usually things about upcoming college visits, or if there's a task that needs to be completed. Document library is a place where a student would go and they would look under, they would look into the documents. For example, something that all the counselors put in there is when we write a letter of recommendation, there's a packet the student fills out for us. That's always put in here. There's lots of PowerPoints are put in here. All the information you can think of a student would need or that we've presented is put into the document library. It's awesome. And then over here on the left side are just some links to things that are used commonly. For example, colleges I'm thinking about and colleges I'm applying to, I won't click on them. Those are places that students go a lot as seniors, and so that's listed over there. Another thing that's listed, it's not on this list, but it's on the students list. When we go in and pretend we're a student, we can't see everything, but we can see most things, is PrepMe. PrepMe is an SAT prep class, which is awesome because a lot of our students can't afford to do SAT prep. I believe someone else talked about this already, and so it's a free prep class for students for SAT. Oh, she's going to a student. Some other things that are on the left-hand side are like signing up for the SAT, signing up for the ACT, the CSS profile, which is used by some schools for financial aid purposes, the FAFSA, the link to the FAFSA is over there, down below. And that's really nice because a lot of families go onto the wrong site for FAFSA, and this takes them to the right site. So it's nice to use this. Common App is on there, which is something they'll use if they're applying to private schools. And in a minute, I'll show you how you link your Common App to your Naviance, so all of the information's in one place. NCAA eligibility for Division I and II athletes is on here. Right here, so someone talked about this earlier. This is like one of my favorite things. It's called X2 Vol. And you guys are like, what is that? Because it doesn't really make sense what it is. It's community service. So what a student does is they click on this, and I don't know why it's called X2 Vol, but it's amazing. Okay. Oh, time to volunteer. Okay. Nice. So what you do is a student, well, is it live? Will it work? Joe might not have any hours in. Oh, look, he does have hours. So what Joe does is Joe would go into X2 Vol, answer a few questions, and he would enter his community service by entering a project with a email for the person that can verify his hours. So everything's done electronically. No more papers, no more counting hours, no more PTSA coming in and helping us figure out how many hours each student has. It's all here under X2 Vol. So it's pretty exciting and awesome. So here's what his transcript looks like. And he has 90 hours. He's pretty awesome. So he did Camp Perkyla and a mission trip. So that's pretty exciting. So then we know he's satisfied his requirement. Also, I think Catherine was saying that we use that information to give awards for community service hours, and it's all in one place, and it's really easy to access. So those are the main areas of this front page. And then if you look up here on the top, these are the different categories that students click into, and we're going to go over a few of those for you.
Hi, y'all. My name is Alicia Williams, and I work at Interlake High School. It's really nice to see you. I wanted to let you know that this isn't a real student. We were accidentally in a real student. That's why I had to log out. This is Joe Interlake. He is our mock student who we use to teach students how to use Naviance. So this isn't a real student's account, just to clarify. So we're not showing you live student data. So I want to show you a few things. The About Me tab is really the way it sounds. It's about your student. And there's quite a few things in here that are a lot of fun. Up here under my assessments, this is a snapshot of where students can go in and actually grab some of those assessments that we referred to earlier. The Strengths Explorer, I think you heard Diane speak about. Let's give it a minute to load. So Joe took this probably when he was in 9th or 10th grade, and his top 3 strengths were relating, caring, and being dependable. And once a student does the Strengths Explorer, they can actually look at this called the full report, and it's a really cool report made just for your student that gives them a whole bunch of specifics about their different strengths and goes all the way down and talks about specific things that they might be good at. So this is something that we might be doing with the younger students in 9th or 10th grade. And go back. The Do What You Are is the personality profile that we talked about. So Joe's taken the personality profile. And those of you who may have done a Myers-Briggs, possibly a personality profile, Myers-Briggs. Some of you might have taken it in college. This is based on that. And Joe is an ESFJ, and so he can also look at related careers that might match his personality, this report. So we're just trying to give you a quick little snapshot of the different things that they can see. Another thing that's in here is students can do a career interest profile. And Joe did that as well. So he got a matching list of different types of careers, kind of really broad. And then he can go in even deeper and look at specific things and what kind of preparation they may need based on his personality, all the way from no preparation to a lot of preparation. So students can see what types of jobs might match their personality and strengths, and then what type of preparation they might have as far as specific college majors or amount of education. Back. And then the last thing I want to show you in here is something called the portfolio. And the portfolio, I'm going to give it a minute to load, but it shows everything in one place where what Joe's been working on all throughout high school. So I'm going to give it a second. So as far as who can see this information, the student can, you can as the parent when you log in, and then their school counselor, which is also really helpful for us when we're working with them, particularly related to helping them narrow down their college list, career interests, also with coursework they're thinking about. But other than that, no one can see this information. So here we go. We can see Joe's strengths, his do what you are, some tasks that have been assigned to him, the careers he's saved, career interest profiler, some college planning stuff all the way down here at the bottom. He's stored his PSAT and SAT scores in here, teacher recommendations, colleges, and this rest of the stuff Kristen's going to show you. But the reason I want to show you the profile is that you can see it's all in one place for students. One last thing in here to highlight is that students can actually build and work on a resume here in Naviance. They can start it in 9th grade, maybe with their community service, and by the time they're in 11th and 12th grade, they might have had a real paying job or lots of other community service, and they can continue to build on this resume. So you can see Joe has some things in here, different things he's done, and you're able to customize and print it, save it as a PDF, attach it to different job applications. So this is, for a lot of students, super helpful to have one place for them to work on their resume. So that's the About Me tab. There's a lot going on in there. There's other things that we do. Students can do surveys in there. When it's time to graduate, we actually have them take a graduation survey. This is what it looks like, where we ask them where they're going to school, and ask them a few different questions so we can make sure that their final transcripts get to the correct school. The career tab, I showed you most of that already. There's different interest inventories in the career tab. And then the one other thing I wanted to highlight, I don't think we have sound, so I'm not going to play it, but there is this archive called the Road Trip Nation. So after students have started to kind of narrow down to specific career interests or specific jobs, they can go through this Road Trip Nation where there's over 3,000 videos saved of folks being interviewed who have specific careers or jobs. So they can listen to someone speak about what their experience has been. Some of the videos, they talk about their college experience and how they actually got to that goal of being that specific in that specific job. So the Road Trip Nation is really interesting, and kids actually enjoy watching it. So we definitely make sure that they see that and give them a little time. We're in the classrooms talking with them. So those are the two tabs that I wanted to point out, the About Me and the Careers tab. And I think Kristen's going to talk a little bit about the colleges.
Yes, so this is the part where when a student is a senior or even end of junior year, where they'll start thinking about what colleges they want to attend. So if you click on that, you can see a list of students that Joe is thinking about applying to. And you can see these little icons right here. You're probably like, what do those mean? Well, this means that the transcript's sent through the mail. This one means it's through the internet. And these applications are sent through Common App. So students will be able to identify if they need to do the Common App application. One thing that I really like about this tab is that you can click on this button here, and what it does is it shows you, this is Joe, and then these are the school requirements for different things like SAT and GPA, and you can kind of see where Joe compares to the other schools. So it's kind of like a nice way for them to see if a school's out of reach, or if they have a safety school on the list. It just gives them a good opportunity to take a look at them as opposed to the requirements or average scores of the college they're applying to. And that's under colleges I'm thinking about. So once you've decided that you want to apply to the college, you would just click next to the school that you want to move to to the colleges you're applying to list and move to the application. On the way over there, you would request a transcript and add the application to the list. So then you would go into colleges I'm applying to, and you would have a comprehensive list of the schools that you've chosen to apply to. As you can see, Berkeley's here now. Up here, you see it says Common App Matching Incomplete. So what happens is you fill out the Common App if it's a Common App school, which a lot of the private schools are Common App schools, and you fill out the FERPA waiver on the Common App online version, and then all you do is put your email, you click Match, and it matches your Common App to your Naviance account, which enables you to invite teachers down here under Letters of Recommendation section. You can invite teachers to the party, and they can get involved, and they have all access to your application, and they can upload their letters of recommendation. As can we. We can upload transcripts, we can upload letters of recommendation, mid-year reports, final year reports. It all happens in the same place. We have a different screen that we see, but the students, this is what the students need to do to prep for us to be able to do our part. That's the main part about colleges I'm applying to. Then right here, college visits, you'd click on that to see what schools are visiting your school. Down here, I think that someone spoke about the college search, the super match, and it's really cool, so I'll go in here and kind of show you around. So you pick different criteria that you want to take a look at, like location, majors, tuition, ethnicity, school type, and you put what your preference is, and then it matches you to schools. It's really an awesome tool. We use that all the time. So those are the main areas that we use. There's also different things like scattergrams, there's college maps, there's comparing colleges, and then down here there's a scholarship match, a scholarship list, so you just go in and you write some things about yourself and they match you to scholarships, or you can look at the complete list here. Also on the main page there's a scholarship, a washboard scholarship, which is Washington schools. It's right here, Washington Scholarship Search. So there's lots of resources, and I honestly find new things every year to show students, because there's just so much in here that we can share and help students with. Is there anything else you want to add? Oh, sure. Down here. So we're going to show you a scattergram and what that looks like. I think Rich talked about this too. It's a lot. You can narrow their criteria and take things off, like students that weren't accepted, but you can kind of see based on, I don't even know if I can see where he is. Oh, I see him right here. He's right here. So this is where he fits in with other students that applied, and you can see students that were accepted and denied. So this is for the University of Washington in Seattle. So it's comparing him against other students. It's kind of a cool tool too.
And Joe's not a real student, of course, but this is real Interlake data. So he's surrounded by actual Interlake students. It's all confidential, like no one can see who these students are. But if we're working with Joe, and you see where he's at, he's surrounded by a lot of yeses and a lot of nos. The red are nos and the greens are yeses. So this can help Joe or your student to kind of figure out, hey, where do I fit? So for Joe, if you were working with him, you would say, this is a good fit school. It's definitely not a safety school, and it's probably not a reach. He's right in, but the University of Washington does not admit students just on GPA and test scores. That's all we have in this, correct? Remember, they do a holistic review like most schools, so they're looking at the essays he's written, the things he's been involved in, the rigor of his curriculum, and a lot before they make a decision. So it's not just based on test scores. If it was, that'd be easy, right? We would know who's getting in and not getting in. But the scattergram is a very useful tool for students and families. So I think we've covered most everything. So we wanted to leave the last 10, 12 minutes to allow for questions. I know we just gave you a ton of information, and Naviance, as you can see, is full of information. There's a lot in there, but we'd be happy to answer any questions, the whole panel. Okay, I see a question way out there. Could you stand up, though, so we could hear you better?
College-bound scholarship program is a program that begins in 7th and 8th grade, and students who have whose families qualify financially on the social, there's a scale that you can qualify for, and if you enroll in that program in 7th and 8th grade, students cannot enroll after June 30th of their 8th grade year. Then when you get to your senior year and you still qualify, your family income still qualifies, and you have more than a 2-point GPA, and you've been accepted to a college, and the financial aid package for the college has been set, then the college-bound scholarship picks up the rest.
The rest of tuition.
Tuition, does it cover books?
It does cover some books and some fees, but it's mostly directed towards the tuition of the cost of the school.
Not housing.
That helps? Yes.
Yes.
It's based on, is a total needs-based scholarship. And they wanted you people to apply in 8th grade because they want them to have the mindset that I'm going to college in high school. So that's why the application is in 7th and 8th grade. And we tell kids, apply, if you qualify, you should apply right now because next month you could win the lottery and you're out of luck, right? Well, if you won the lottery, I guess you wouldn't care about the scholarship. But anyway, yes.
I've got a question regarding personality and how the jobs seem to fall in on the back of personality on the system. Is the personality test taken annually? Or
It can be. Some kids take it once. Some kids will come to us the next year and say, I've really changed. And sometimes they have. And we can reset the test and they can take it again. And the jobs that come up just simply say, for people who have the same 4 Myers-Briggs letters that you do, right, they tend to like these jobs. So these are people that have the same personality profile that you do, and they're in these jobs. The jobs are pretty extensive. There are hundreds of them. So it's not going to ever say, you should be a neurosurgeon, you should be a judge, you should be this, that, or the other thing, right? It's going to give kids a lot. And sometimes they give this big umbrella, and I've had kids look at the umbrella and go, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's look at something else. Because they're not self-defining at all. And the kids can retake the personality inventory whenever they want. It's normed for teenagers.
on the back of that, we know a large percentage of future jobs are not even around right now. So how do we balance that with the future?
Well, I think what we tell kids is you're preparing yourself for jobs that haven't even been invented yet. But we're trying to just put you on a path. Are you going to be on a path of human service? Are you going to be on a path that's more technical? Are you going to be on a path that does this, that, or the other thing? So it's really not the specific job, because I'm telling you, as a mother who got 2 kids through college, they must have changed their minds 10 times apiece. It's more to getting them thinking about, oh, that's a career. What do I have to do if I want to do that? Really popular career for 7th grade boys is being an FBI agent. That's like number 1. And what they do, it's really cute. They'll go through it and we say, okay, well, so go to this part where it says what a typical FBI agent does, right? Because they don't know. It'd be cool. They go catch bad guys, right? And they get to carry a gun. So we get to the part where it talks about writing reports and doing research, and they're like, I'm out.
Deb, I was going to add, one of the things we talk about in career guidance specifically, sorry, this mic seems loud, is the idea, we often give them reference to that exact thing, that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, your parents were thinking about careers, and the things that they knew about, many don't exist. So we do frame that for them, that, you know, you're not particularly making some decision that's going to last for the next 40 years. It's just kind of like the first step. Because, yeah, there's going to be so many careers that our children won't even think of, right? There's just, the technology revolution has changed so much. So we're not really talking about specific jobs. It's more of like the big picture of what they like to do and where they see themselves going.
And we want them to think about life after high school, even though that seems like eons away when you're in 7th grade or 8th grade or 9th grade. It's still the process of identifying a career, figuring out what do you need to do to get it, what kind of classes are you going to have to take, are you going to need post-college planning? I mean, are you going to need graduate school? What are you going to need to do? It's that whole process that's more important than the individual career, I would say. Are there any? Yes? Well, all the inventories are there, so they can always go back and do them if they want to. Yeah. And sometimes you'll look at your child's profile and it'll be incomplete because we go into the classes, we never have enough time because we only get in once or twice a year for 6th and 7th graders. And so we'll start the inventory with them, but we never have time to finish it because everything in Naviance takes 15 to 20 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have 20
Yeah.
minutes to give them because it's like, data intense. So lots of times they'll start it and then they'll go home and they won't finish it. It's a great program, but it's not a video game, and it has no cool stuff. They can go through and do all those things.
So, go ahead. For ninth graders, depending on the high school, they will get their login. I don't want to speak, we all do it a little bit differently, but for ninth grade, we spend about 90 minutes, I'd say, with the ninth graders, logging them in and getting them started. And if every year, we're with them again. So like I was just in a senior classroom this morning, brand new senior, hasn't done anything in Naviance. So we were just logging her in and kind of giving her the highlights of what she needs to do. But the nice thing about this program is they can do it anytime from home. As soon as they have their login, they can work on any part of it.
It is, and they won't like that I said this, the kids won't. It is a family access account. They do get first shot at putting the login and the password, but it is a family account, and I would encourage parents especially to spend some time in the scholarship realm, because by the time we get the kids applied to college and they've written their college essays, they are less than enthused about writing another essay for a scholarship. So oftentimes, even though ideally the counselors would like to say it's their responsibility, it's really, it helps if parents are involved in looking at the scholarship stuff, because they're not going to spend a lot of time doing that. Yes, ma'am. So there's a lot of parallel work that goes on here. The kids will decide where they're going to apply. They request their teachers. They can even now in Naviance request for a specific school. The teachers go off and write their letters. They load them into Naviance. They send them. The counselors go, write their letters, and they send them. And we load the transcript and the schedule into Naviance. So there are a lot of schools, University of Washington, the University of California system, Bellevue College. There's tons of public schools that don't require transcripts. They're all self-reported. So we don't send anything until the very end when they say, I'm going to the UW, and we have to send a final transcript that verifies the information that the students gave. For the private schools and through the Common App schools and now the coalition schools, some of the coalition schools will require letters of rec and transcripts and almost all the Common App schools, right? Mm-hmm. I've been out of this business for a little bit.
So I was going to say, we ask students who are seeking teachers' letters of recommendation to actually ask them their junior year before they go on to summer break. So that way teachers have the summer break to actually write some of their letters of recommendation just to kind of get ahead for their senior year. I know for us at Bellevue, we actually require students to give us their letter of recommendation stuff, questions, their junior year. So I take time. I wrote about 10 letters this summer, so out of 70 kids that need it. So that's try to front load that piece for me personally. I don't know what they do.
We ask for input from parents and from kids, so there's questionnaires in the document library. If you need a letter to college, which remember there's a lot of colleges that you don't need a letter for, but if you do, then there's a student questionnaire and a parent questionnaire, because we have found that parents will tell us things about their student that kids won't even remember.
And that's the greatest story ever.
I'd like to add, too, that when we get the lists, sorry for the feedback. Thank you. When I know a student's deadline is coming up, I'll go in, and even if the other 6 schools don't need anything until February, I go in and my letter's done, the teachers' letters are done, and so I send everything at that one time. And then if things change or if they update, then I can go in and send them again. But I do that initial send in the beginning when everything is done, so everything goes out at once.
So it'll show on their profile
See right here where it says office status, when it says initial materials submitted, like it'll say that for Berkeley and the University of Washington because there are no initial materials that need to be submitted. And we tried saying that, but the anxiety was so skyrocketing high that we changed it to this. So it's done, right? The kids go, okay, they did the. But this one, which is Seattle University, which is a Common App school, which needs letters from counselors and teachers. Do you see where that says pending? Eventually, when everything's sent, it will change to initial materials sent. So kids don't have to be anxious. Now, what that means is that we sent our stuff up to the cloud, right? Seattle U has to go from their end up to the cloud and download it. And then that will change to download it.
Oh, so when the school has downloaded it, then that status changes? No.
It's supposed to change this year. I don't know if that actually will happen yet because we haven't seen it, right? But you can, I guess we'll find out, right? That's the Naviance line that they gave me at NACAC last week, and I went, really?
I think I know the answer to that. The nice thing, I know a lot of parents get worried. The nice thing about Naviance is that it does allow students to see what's happening from the college end. And you actually can see that a school has downloaded information. You can't see it from this screen, but there is a place where students can see that. So it is really helpful. Back when we used snail mail 20 years ago, kids wouldn't know if colleges received extra materials. But this does. It's not perfect. There's sometimes glitches, but for the most part, students can see if something's been received by a college or been downloaded.
And we do still encourage communication. A student shouldn't be requesting a letter of recommendation on Naviance, and that's the first time the teacher sees it. We're still coaching them to talk to their teachers, to communicate to us when they're adding schools to their list, because that is part of their education as well.
Yes. Yes.
And it's very time sensitive. And specifically in regards to transcripts. But my question is there someone that we can turn to, we can email, whatever it is, who can help us with technical assistance? Specifically, a situation that happened last year is that oftentimes we had situations where my daughter's transcripts never left the pending. And deadlines were approaching to where she proactively then called the university directly. And then they said, oh, no, we received it. Well, they received it, but it never changed from a pending status. And there was a situation last year where there was someone who had not received it, and never left pending. Thankfully, I heard the counseling secretary, she got me out a hard copy, and I had express mail from her back. So these are just glitches. So I mean, I understand systems glitch, but who can you turn to? Because I've already had my son's first deadline was September 15th. Same exact thing happened. The transcript never left pending stayed. We couldn't get in touch with the admissions office fast enough, so luckily I got a hard copy from the counseling department and express mailed it down there. So he's good, but it still says pending on his Naviance.
It will not change from pending unless we've sent it electronically.
That's the whole idea of requesting a transcript resent.
Right, but so I don't want to take everyone else's time to deal with your problem, but I will say this, right? Yeah, you can call Naviance support, or you could call the counseling secretary, and pretty much we can call them as well and say, hey, what's up? So part of the problem with September 15th is we don't have all of our stuff into Naviance, so we have to have a school profile uploaded, we have to have a bunch of other stuff uploaded, and we have a new student information system, and on September 15th, the transcripts weren't accurate. So, yeah, we could do it from our old one, but we can't upload them now because those students aren't active in Aspen anymore. Yes, the counseling secretary. Yes. sure what you want me to say here.
Counseling secretary.
Counseling secretary or your counselor.
Or
That's-
you can call the Naviance Help, which is what I do and parents do at my school.
We call
you know,
Naviance all the
whenever
time.
there's a question or concern. There's a link on there. It's an email. I haven't used it yet this year, so I'm not quite sure. Help at Naviance or something, I'm sure.
Yeah, Naviance.
But that's all. I mean, it's all there, and I'm sure your counselor would be happy to help you find that link.
I would also add that colleges are very aware of Naviance as a product and knowledgeable about how it works, and they're great about communicating with us if there is a glitch and making that work. I've never had that not work. And in terms of mailing, who knows? Who knows where that ends up? There have been times where we've mailed stuff in my previous school, and it's not ended up where we thought it was going to end up. There was no confirmation on a screen saying you're all good, or a confirmation saying there's something going on. It's time to communicate with the school.
And I want to add to that, that's what admissions officers are always there. They're the one for your region. I tell my students and parents all the time, reach out to them. They're the ones that answer your questions. They can look and see what they've received. I know it's a busy time and a stressful time, but everybody wants your student to have a successful experience and end up at the school for them. And so everyone is there to support them.
And I would add that the deadlines, for the most part, are student deadlines, which means the college is waiting for your student's application. They're very flexible on other things. So if a transcript's not there by the deadline, an SAT score, a teacher recommendation, a counselor recommendation, they'll let us know. I get calls and say, hey, we've been waiting for one of these items, it's not here. Can you send it right over? So the deadline, just to clarify, is typically, there are a few outliers, but it's typically for the student's application. College admission officers understand that sometimes it might take a little bit longer for a teacher to get something out, or a transcript might be delayed because of technical problems, which we have a new student information system, things like that. The deadlines, they don't flex if your student doesn't get their application in. So, for example, November 15th is University of Washington deadline. If your student misses that deadline, there's no flexibility.
Same with the University of California. If you don't have it in by November 30th, you don't have it
You're
in.
out. But if your student's applying to Seattle U, for example, I'm just using them as an example, and I think their deadline's January 15th, and everything's in by January 15th, but their transcript's not there yet, that's fine. Or their SAT scores are not there yet, that's fine. It's the application that's really important. So just to relieve some stress, because I feel like a lot of parents get worried about kind of the nuts and bolts, and I don't want you to lose too much sleep. That stuff gets worked out.
We also send mid-year reports, which go in February at the end of first semester, and at the end of the year, we send final transcripts to one college that the students have told us they are going to matriculate to. College, the kids have to decide by May 1st. So May 1st is sort of the national drop-dead commit date. And most of the colleges have the acceptances to the kids by April 1st, but there's always a few every year that trickle into April 15th. There you go.
Or April 27th.
We are a little past our time, but I'm happy to stay and answer any more questions if you would like that. Okay. Thank you very much, and thank the counselors.
I just want to say real quick, thank you again to our counselors for sharing all their knowledge with us. And as our first speaker, Catherine, said, these education connections are supported by the Bellevue Schools Foundation. We are community powered. That means you. If you'd like to know more about us, there's information on the table. And if you'd like to join us at All In for Kids, there are some forms there. Thank you again.